So with that, let's start part 2. So Matt, could you please talk about a little bit more about the resources at Unit City?
So I mentioned the coding school. Let me flesh that out a little bit. We call it Unit Factory, and the curriculum we use is from Coding School 42.
Yeah.
So you know 42.
They're in Fremont.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You've been over there.
Yeah, Jamie, I know the whole team.
Oh, okay.
The whole team of
All right,
8
great.
people here.
Yeah, very nice facilities.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah, so we have their curriculum,
Okay.
and the other, I guess the most striking thing about their program is that tuition is free.
Yeah.
So I think that's a little bit like the Cambridge University model or the Harvard University model. People are trying to get in there, into Harvard, because it has such a great reputation. 3 years of tuition-free education, that sounds great, from a top school. So when people arrive on their first day, we already have some outstanding minds in our every class.
Do they think the whole university is too good to be true when they arrive, or?
Yeah, I imagine some of them are scratching their heads. How is this possible?
Yeah. Who's stealing my code?
And the other thing that's unusual about the program is that there are no instructors per se. So teams are formed, and you're given cases that resemble real life problems, and you try to solve them. And there's actually some kind of map. Have you seen that map, that labyrinth you have to work your way through before you graduate? Goal. Yeah.
But let's go back. Tell me more about the resources of Unit City there. Okay. And also, let's kind of get to where we're talking about startups from Unit City come in here and maybe the difficulties that they face.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. We haven't had a lot of startups come this way yet from Unit City because we're still relatively young. We're 2 years old, let's say.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but we have, what do we have? 9 buildings up. Beautiful office buildings. You can see the links on the website after this interview. So, talking about Ukrainian startups coming this way. So one of our accelerators is focused on global startups who are interested in the U.S. market, and I will facilitate their transition to the U.S. What kind of problems do I see? What kind of mistakes are being made over and over again? Well, a lot of startups come here, and they come over here for a week or two, and they come in a big group of startups from the same country. So they show up here and we are Latvian startups. And people here think, okay, that's a little strange. And why is that important? And what do you do? Right? So you do not brand yourself as from a particular country. No one cares here.
Yeah.
Right. Now it's another matter if you go to, let's say, a blockchain conference and you discover that, all the good startups were from Ukraine. Well, that's a pretty powerful message.
Yeah.
But you got to let people discover that for themselves.
Okay.
So that's number one. Number two, you really need to stay here. You need someone here. And I would say not just one person, at least two. You need to have each other's back, and you need to assimilate. You need to think as like a native of Silicon Valley. And to do that, you need to break out of your community, whatever it is. If you're Chinese, you should not be hanging out with all the other Chinese founders. You need to really dive into Silicon Valley and discover it. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I've seen that with a lot of the groups here, Silicon Valley, where they'll send a VC over from a country and they'll just hang out with that group, whether it's Chinese, Japanese, Korean. They never actually immerse themselves in Silicon Valley, and they never get access to the good companies because of that, or a rich deal flow.
That's a huge mistake.
What are some of the other problems that founders from Ukraine might face when they come here? Do they have visa problems, or because they're startups they're able to get those, or is that getting easier or harder?
That is a good question, and I need to crack that. I have a number of friends who are immigration lawyers, so I'm just going to hand the problem over to them. I'm not on top of it just yet, but I have not come across anyone who has been in such dire straits they had to leave.
Okay.
Yeah, and I will say this, of the Ukrainian startups or the Ukrainian founders who are very successful here, they spent some time in the United States before their startup got traction. So I don't know if WhatsApp is he immigrated here pretty young, Yankum, but there's a Ukrainian team in WhatsApp, and and Jan is originally from Ukraine. Grammarly, I don't know if we consider Grammarly Ukrainian or Canadian, but they're Ukrainian guys. PetCube,
Okay.
yeah. I don't know how many years they were here before, and I think they got here through China actually. So that's an interesting path they took.
How many years do you think it takes a founder or someone from Ukraine to kind of get acclimated to Silicon Valley?
Well, it depends on the person, but if you're applying yourself, I would say a year. Yeah, I got acclimated in Russia in about a year.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't look Russian. You know, I can open a taxi door and they'll speak English to me, just the way I look. But yeah, my recommendation: go to a lot of parties. You know, just speak, and next thing you know, you're local.
Okay.
Yeah.
So far we've talked about getting acclimated to Silicon Valley, taking about a year. The founders, when they do come here, it normally will take them a little while to get acclimated, and when they're here, they should associate outside of just their home country's group.
Oh, of course.
We talked about when if a startup team here wants to outsource their development to Ukraine, best to have a project manager or 1 or 2 points of contacts here for that team overseas. There'll be a cultural difference. There'll also be a time difference. But the cultural difference is the biggest.
Trumps everything else.
Trumps everything else. We also talked about the technological park and the benefits of it with everyone in such a community. What are we missing? What hasn't been covered so far?
One area that I'm developing is events that tie together different tech ecosystems, and obviously the one I care about is Kiev.
Okay.
I will pull in some others as well. And the time difference is difficult, but you can include startups from Unit City in the agenda for a particular event. So we have through Silicon Valley Planet, that's a group that I formed.
Oh.
And yeah, you think you're aware of it?
I'm not sure, but I can't wait to see this video on it.
Okay. Too many organizations with Silicon Valley in their names, but
a lot of those domain names are taken.
Right. So we have a fintech event coming up on corporate pilots.
Okay.
So we'll have some experienced individuals from big corporations, from startups in the fintech space, telling us how to be successful in setting up a pilot, what not to do. And I'd like to have a series of such events across different sectors.
Okay.
Yeah. And I will be working with my colleagues at Unit City, and they just launched their first batch of startups, and 2 of them are fintech. So
Okay.
I will integrate them in my activities here.